I buried my dad on the Friday and went to jail on the Monday. So I didn't get time to grieve. Like I said earlier, I didn't have a process where you understand what grieving looks like. Where I'm from, that was just drinking. You drunk or you was violent, they were the two things. And all I wanted to do was someone to just hug me and say it'd be all right. I wasn't a bad kid, I was just mischievous. I used to play up a lot and try and make it a bit of a class clown, try and make everyone laugh. And my circumstances with life is when I was 9, I was involved in domestic abuse. So from 9, 10, and 11, I had a social worker that used to sit in school with me. And, I felt like that weird kid that had a big grown up sat next to him and tried to help. Emotionally, I was all over the place for what had happened. When I went into secondary school, you go to that big fishbowl and you don't know anyone, there's people from different areas. I wanted to be the cool kid, so I tried to make everyone laugh. And the teacher didn't understand that my mum worked 3 jobs, so my job was to pick my brother and sister up and then look after them until my mum came home. So homework was the last thing I needed to do. I had to make food and get, just basic things that I had to do, probably at a younger age than most people. And the teacher was like, if you don't do your homework, you're going to fail. And I was like, I'm not going to fail because I'm going to be a footballer. And she said, okay, but the way you're going, you'll be dead by the time you're 25. Now, me, as a parent, I wouldn't be too happy with that. And there'll be a lot of situations, but I was smart-mouthed as a kid and probably now to most people that watch. So I was just like, okay, miss, but when I'm earning more than you, then you have to say sorry, right? And she never got to say sorry. So, it's a sad story, but it's just my reality, unfortunately.
Do you want to talk to me a bit more about your reality and what kind of school
Where I'm
and
from?
home and
Oh, yeah, so I'm from Chelmsford Wood in Birmingham, which up until mid-90s was the largest council estate in Europe. Everyone was broke. Everyone was trying to figure it out. We come from an understanding that there's 2 jobs you could have. You could either sell drugs with the rest of the people, or you could go work at the Land Rover factory. That was the 2 lines of work for a young male at that time. My dad was in and out of jail doing what he was doing, but was very keen on us to get an education and to be better than him. And my mum, typically trying to hold down the fort, was working 2, 3 jobs. It's a story that millions of people can relate to in the UK. And my childhood was pretty fun in that regard, but with life like that, it comes obstacles. And my dad beat up me and my mum at the age of 9, put us in a bad way. I don't allow my circumstances to dictate who and what I become. I think everyone goes through troubles in whatever line of work you are, and it's just how you mentally overcome that, and are you going to let that mistake define you? And I didn't.
Has that always been the case? You've always been not wanting to let that kind of background and that history define you, or is that something that's come later?
No, I just come from a place where that happened to everyone. So, if you stood and moaned about it, the person next to you was going through, their dad was an alcoholic, or the person across the road, their mum dead. Do you know what I mean? Everyone had an issue, so it was you didn't really talk about it. You just went on to the next thing, and I think that's a generational thing as well. So, I'm 33 now, but mid-90s, early 2000s, you didn't want to create a scene. So, if police, as they did on numerous occasions, kicked our door in, it was about putting the door up as quick as possible and not talking about what had happened. You keep all your problems in-house. But if someone come round, friends or neighbours or family, you painted out that you were this happy family that was, everything was good. And if the lights were off, because there was no electric, you just open the curtains and make sure no one really knows what's going on. It's just a story that a lot of people have been through, but I just don't hide from that. I think that's hasn't made me, shaped who I am to this day, and I'm an evolution of who I am every day when I'm trying to get better and understand more.
With the work that kind of you, Marcus Rashford and others have done, what is it about this kind of generation of footballers that makes them want to get involved with these big societal issues?
With the power of social media now and YouTube and other platforms, you're able to consume a lot of information. So I think players before would have felt it, but not necessarily had control of their own narrative. With social media, we're able to, if we want to reach somebody in New Zealand, we can talk to them that way. Do you get what I mean? Like, that was never obtainable to people. And also, I think football, very much in this country, is like, it's a reflection of society. So you've got loads of different ethnicities all in one football team working together for that. But now you have a change room where people are more open to talk. So we've just come out of Ramadan, and my dad was a practicing Muslim. So to me, I understand that. Not everybody in that dressing room would understand it, but they will ask the question now. Whereas 10 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. Do you get what I mean? And it's a lot of open discussions now for everybody to understand who and what people are going through.
Obviously, that's a good positive from social media, but there's obviously a negative as well. What is it like to be a black man or a mixed race man, footballer, on social media?
It depends who you are. If you live and breathe on social media, it's very difficult, and that's for kids and for women as well on there. Like, it's a lot of pitfalls with it. I don't live and breathe by what Julie 55 said about me. Do you get what I mean? Like, I just live on me and my kids say. There is times where I have to remember that I am a human, because I tell you one story. Like, I remember playing a game and I posted my daughter. It was like her 5th birthday, and someone put, I just beat a team, and someone put, "That nigga should die," under my daughter's page. Now, me as a man, I'm not having that anyway. But me as a dad, I want to kill you now. I think I should be allowed to do whatever. But me as a footballer, I have to go, report, block. That's all I can do. But people will then say, "Oh, don't worry about what the idiots say." Well, how do you know what that's like to have your daughter be called that? How can you tell me what that feeling in, you know what I mean? Like, people have this like, "Oh, don't worry about the minority," but that minority is spoken about my daughter. How can you tell me how that feels? How can you tell me what that invokes, that emotion? So yeah, there is negativity that comes with it, but you have to just try and rise above it and stay true to what you're doing. And I've noticed the more positive I'm doing, the more negative stuff I'm getting. So that's always the way. Like, my nan told me the other day, when you're doing God's work, the devil tries to put his hand on your shoulder.
Obviously, that's been happening for years with you. So, like, how does that? Have you looked into how that affects you mentally? How that affects your mental health?
Yes, I do. I see a psychologist once a week, and you got to remember, coming from where I come from, and I saw a 50 Cent line and I really enjoyed it. It was like, I don't want a problem, but if someone says they want a problem, I say no problem, because I'm always ready for a problem. But I'm trying to get to a situation where I help people. Don't let me be that person. I'm quite a strong guy, physically look after myself. Let's not put me in a position where I can now be the problem. Let's just all try and move forward. Like, the world, it's so much negativity everywhere. Like, no matter where you look now, you turn the news on and something bad's happening. Just try and just be positive. So I've just learned to, like, try and control the beast, basically, is what I'm trying to do. Just get Hulk to chill out and just be Bruce Banner as much as I can.
Was prison when you started dealing with the kind of mental health and unraveling what had happened in your childhood?
It was a starting point, but it's really when I came home, really. I buried my dad on the Friday and went to jail on the Monday. So I didn't get time to grieve. Like I said earlier, I didn't have a process where you understand what grieving looks like. Where I'm from, that was just drinking. You drunk or you was violent. They were the two things. Unfortunately for me, I did both. I drank a lot and I got violent a lot. And all I wanted to do was someone to just hug me and say it'd be all right. I lost my great nan, my granddad and my dad in the space of 15 months. So, like, everyone that was there and shaping me and moulding me was gone. I just had my nan and my mum. Even to this day, I don't have any male role models to help me, or even go like, I'm having this issue, like, what would you do? I don't have that. So I've had to learn the hard way, because I got 3 brothers and a sister. Now I'm the oldest. I'm the man of the house now. But now I've got to give education and values and wisdom. Also, I'm a parent, And what we all do as kids is we think our parents know everything. I'm 33, I don't know everything, and my kids look at me like I'm God. Like if I say don't do that, okay, they're not doing it, but I don't know everything. So we all have to be able to evolve and understand that we have, a lot to learn, and education is a key part of that, but also living life. How many people have kids now and they've never left their area, never been on holiday? Some people don't even drive. Like, how can you tell your kids what you want them to be when you've not done it? So I try and live life learning day by day.
How do you think about your dad now? What's your opinion? Has it changed over the years, or?
Yeah. I love my dad. My dad's still my hero. Yes, he had his flaws, but who doesn't? I don't know anybody that doesn't have a flaw. Did he make mistakes? Of course he did. If anything, I'm a little bit envious and jealous that he left, because he was becoming the dad / granddad that I needed. My dad got cancer of the esophagus, which is like here for people that don't know. He found out in end of March, died in May. So it was like 6.5 weeks from finding out to dying. So there weren't even enough time for us all to process what was going on. Do you know what I mean? It just went bang, 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 and he was gone. So I'm a little bit jealous, really, and I'm like, see my kids doing good things. And there's one story that I tell when I got promoted to the Premier League. So my dad taught me how to play football, like most people. We got promoted to the Premier League. I used to have his number saved in my phone. We got promoted, and in the hysteria, this is 6 years ago, so he'd only been dead 2.5, 3 years. I got, oh yes, Dad, I need to phone Dad. I pulled my phone out, and I went, and then that's when the realization, he was gone. You have that, he's gone, but in your head you can still remember things, and that was the time when I was like, okay, I've really got to sort myself out here, because I've still not dealt with everything. And he's going to be 10 years this month actually, that he's passed, and still miss him every day, but it's just at a point in life now where I'm understanding that there's a legacy to continue, and hopefully my kids, my brother's kids, are in a situation where they won't have to deal with as much trauma that we went through.
You mentioned earlier that Ian Wright was a role model for you, maybe in a different way. He also went to prison for 2 weeks, and he said that he cried every day when he was sent there. What was your experience?
Yeah, there was no tears. I went to Winston Green jail for 2 weeks, and then I went up north to Warrington for 11 weeks. And all I can say is I felt like I never want to go there again. And that wasn't for fear, or I just thought, look at the position you're in, and look, you threw it all away over trying to be tough, over trying to be that guy. Do you get what I mean? Like that guy for what? That's why I don't do the clout chasing. That's why I don't do the posting the nice stuff that you've got. Everyone's going through issues, man. Just try and live your life in the best way you can. And I wake up every morning, splash my face like everyone does, look in the mirror and go, let's try and get after it. And then when I go home at night time and I've showered and brushed my teeth, I look in the mirror and go, have you tried your best today? You tried your best to not intentionally hurt anyone, be disrespectful, be rude. And you can look yourself in the mirror every day. That's all you can do. People are too worried about what everybody else is thinking, and I've got to make sure I get 5,000 likes for this picture. It's like, why? These people aren't real. It's not tangible. I love this magazine, Men's Health, I get it all the time, because I love reading the different stories, not only for training, but the eating, the way that people mentally deal with things. I think that needs to be told more. Those stories need to be told more, because it's a real thing. Looking after yourself, structure is the main thing for understanding who you are going forward, and making sure that you look after your mental health.
Was that a problem for you at the time? So obviously you've been sent to prison, you've lost your dad, you potentially maybe lost your career as well. What's your kind of mental health?
It was all over the place, but I was in pure survival mode, and I didn't realise it was called fight and flight. I was in that all the time, but I didn't even know what that was, because you're always on edge, aren't you? You're always you're in jail. I'm not at Butlins, do you know what I mean? So I'm always thinking, all right, don't upset him. Actually, what's he inside for? Actually, I haven't got any money. Actually, what about the bills at home that I've still got to pay? I'm not getting paid now. Do you know what I mean? All these things, and I'm 22. I'm 22. I'm meant to be in the enjoying life, going Vegas with the boys, that kind of thing. But now I'm sat here through summer, and that was in 2012. That was when AJ, and bear in mind, me and AJ have been speaking up until that point. He's training for the Olympics. Guys on it. They're the kind of people I need to be around. Next thing you know, I'm in jail watching him on a TV about this big win the Olympics. We was just hanging out together. Do you get what I mean? And now you're sitting there going, I've got to get my stuff together, man, real quick. And thankfully I have done. But also just, it's an evolution, as I say. There's still more to the journey.
Like you said, you've been open about doing a lot of therapy. How has that helped you? What was it important for you to talk to someone?
I think it's important for everyone to talk to somebody. I believe with therapy helped me as a male, because I felt that when I spoke to my mum, my nan, my partner, their first thing was to look after me. I didn't need someone to look after me. I just needed someone to vent to at times and just offload, because we've all had those people you might vent to somebody or offload, and the first thing they do is try and mother you. It's like, no, I don't need that. I just needed to get it off, decompress, unpack it, understand what's going on, and then move forward. So it's been really beneficial for me, understanding a lot of life's trials and tribulations. But I think I understand people better now. I think I understand what somebody else might be thinking, because we're all selfish, and that's not a bad thing. But we are all selfish, and we're all going through stuff, as I said earlier. So yeah, it helps me massively.
Tell me something that you've learned about yourself through therapy that's had a positive impact on your life.
That I am just one man. So you have this thing, again, where I'm from, is because you're the bread earner now, you get making the most money, you gotta look after your mum, your nan, your brother, your sister, everyone. You got all these things, but ultimately all you have to do is look after you and your family, your additional family, whether that be kids or your partner. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is make sure you drink water and eat food, but you take it on that you need to look after everyone's problems. And therapy basically just simplified my life as much as possible and allowed me to be unapologetically me.
What is your training like at the minute? How does it differ from 10, 15 years ago?
I train more now than I did 10, 15 years ago. I abused the fact that my metabolism as a kid was fine. Do you know what I mean? When you were in your early 20s and you could have a beer and eat a McDonald's but still train 2-3 times a day. That's what I did. But now I eat a lot better, I'm a lot cleaner, and I train a lot smarter, which is what we didn't used to do. Back in the day, it was just go till you fell over kind of vibe. And I say this story as well. So before I was actually made it, I was at Warsaw, which is it was in League 2 at the time. It's where I'm from is a big block. It's 2 miles, and I used to run every night, but on each corner was pubs. And obviously, where I'm from, all the cool kids, let's say, were on each one. And I remember running, and I used to do 2 laps of it every night. And every time I went past the pub, someone who I knew was what are you doing that running for? Stop running, come chill with us. Nah, I got to do this, carry on running, get to the next one. What are you doing? Look at this idiot doing that. And then I remember 3 years later, coming past those same pubs, and I was driving a white Mercedes at the time. And I pulled up, and the lads went, fair play. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you used to run here, we used to tell you not to. Now you're pulling up with this, and we're still stood in the same block, doing the same thing. And it's that to me was that's the evolution of what you should do. So I used to run that, now I'm driving it in a car. Next time I come past, I'm going to drive it in a bigger car or a better car. That was what I was looking for. Now I'm in a position where I want to just buy the block. I don't want to run around it. Do you get what I mean? And it's just the evolution of what you want to do going forward.